British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
From the Broadcast Center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Good morning, I'm Lauren Achille, and these are your top stories to 12:30. Wildfires in BC have led to another evacuation order. The BC Wildfire Service reports the Parker Lake fire burning near Fort Nelson has grown to 84 square kilometers. David Bowles from the Canadian Press has more.
The latest came Monday night when the Peace River Regional District issued an evacuation order due to a wildfire near Doig River 206 in northeastern BC. The community is about 60 kilometers northeast of Fort St. John. Evacuees are being told to go to Fort St. John, where an evacuation help center has been set up. It comes as wildfire continues to rage and threaten communities in that part of BC, including Fort Nelson. Northern Rockies Regional Municipalities Mayor Rob Fraser says they're working hard to get any remaining people to evacuate.
Our Emergency Operations Center called as many as they knew phone numbers for, and we had some takers on that, and some more people moved out of the community.
About 4,700 people live in the town, most of whom have left. David Bowles, the Canadian Press.
We do have an update. BC Premier David Eby says the Parker Lake wildfire approaching Fort Nelson was held overnight and no homes were burned down. He says a lot is going to depend on how the weather behaves in the next few days.
The situation is still very fluid and very dependent on weather over the next 24 hours. And certainly I want to reassure the people who live in the Fort Nelson area, Fort Nelson First Nation, residents of Fort Nelson, Doig River residents, that we are doing all we can to respond to fight that fire.
Fort Nelson and the Fort Nelson First Nation have been under an evacuation order since Friday. The Parker Lake wildfire has grown to 84 square kilometers. Evacuation orders were also issued yesterday for the Doig River First Nation and parts of the Peace River Regional District. The federal government and provincial government have announced a new federal investment. Our reporter Ethan Van Dopp has more on the new initiatives and how it could help British Columbians save on energy bills.
Stephen Guilbeault, Federal Minister of Environment and Climate, along with Jonathan Wilkinson, Federal Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, has announced a $103.7 million investment from Canada's Low Carbon Economy Fund. The investment aims to help British Columbians reduce their energy costs, as well as encourage them to switch from gas and oil heating to a more environmentally friendly way to heat homes, including electric heat pumps. With support of the Oil to Heat Pump Affordability Program, British Columbians who qualify could receive up to $16,000 to switch to high-efficiency heat pumps in homes currently heated with oil. Ethan Van Dopp, BCIT's The Crow.
Convicted killer Alan Schoenborn, who murdered his 3 children in 2008, changed his name to Ken John Johnson. His attempt to have his new name banned from the publication set off a proposed law. A new bill was created by the provincial government to prevent people who have been convicted of serious crimes from changing their names. This includes violence against other people and acts against children, according to Health Minister Adrian Dix. His name change certificate was provided to the family of the victims, who then posted it on social media. One of Canada's renowned short story authors has died. Don Kelly from the Canadian Press has the details.
Short story writer Alice Munro was 92. She won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 2013 and was cited by the Swedish Academy as the master of the contemporary short story. Munro was the first lifelong Canadian to win the Nobel and the first recipient cited exclusively for short fiction. Her intricate tales depicting small-town southwestern Ontario earned her an international fan base and awards, including the Man Booker International Prize, the Commonwealth Writers' Prize, and multiple Scotiabank Giller Prizes and Governor General's Literary Awards. Don Kelly, the Canadian Press.
Now let's take a look at the weather. Today will be cloudy with breaks of sunshine with a high of 20 degrees and a low of 9. This week will be warmer as we reach 21 degrees tomorrow and 18 degrees averaging for the rest of the week. So get your umbrellas out for Thursday and the weekend, as we do expect some rain. So enjoy that sun while you can before you get your umbrellas out. These have been your top stories to 12:30. I'm Lauren Achille, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
This is sports on 1680 The Crow.
Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Sheridan with your 1240 Sports Update. Lineup changes for both the Vancouver Canucks and Edmonton Oilers have been made for tonight's game. The Oilers will be dressing backup goalie Kelvin Pickard for the Game 4 in Edmonton. Canucks' 7th defensive lineman Noah Juleson will be in the lineup to replace Carson Soucy. Soucy received a 1-game suspension for his cross-check on Connor McDavid after the final buzzer last game. Canucks' Nikita Zadorov was also involved in a heated incident with McDavid. He was fined the max penalty of $5,000 for cross-checking him from behind. Zadorov says playoff hockey is aggressive.
I had no intention to hurt anybody either. Like, I saw my teammate get slashed, I had to step in, I've been doing it for 11 years. It's just the unlucky play. I got caught there too. Whatever. Move on. Game 4 today. Let it be.
The sexual assault case involving 5 former Team Canada World Junior hockey players have a virtual court appearance today with the lawyers. Dylan Dubé, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, Cal Foote, and Alex Fermenton were charged with sexual assault in January. The alleged assault happened in 2018 in a London hotel after a gala celebrating the team's gold medal win. The 5 men will make a court appearance in September as their trials near. Karen Rebo from the Associated Press has more on the story.
All 5 players plan to defend themselves against the allegations and have opted for a jury trial. A trial date has not yet been set. London police initially closed the investigation in 2019, but they reopened it 3 years later without explaining why it had been closed or why it got reopened. Karen Rebo, The Canadian Press.
2 Canadian women set the bar high at the Olympic trials in Toronto, both securing a spot at the Olympic Games in Paris. The reigning Olympic champion Maggie McNeil of London, Ontario, won the 100-meter butterfly and is hoping to reclaim her title this year. 17-year-old Summer McIntosh from Toronto also qualified for the Paris Games, taking the top spot in the 400-meter freestyle yesterday. McIntosh was on world record pace for most of the race before finishing a few seconds off the mark. McIntosh believes there is still room for improvement.
I think every time I swim 400 freestyle, I learned a little bit more about how to swim the race. I think it's one of the most strategic races in swimming. So, yeah, I'm definitely not happy with that time, but I know I can go faster.
Team Canada men's hockey is 2-0 at the World Championships in Prague. The team has wins over Britain and Denmark and are currently up 5-1 in the second period against Austria. Chicago Blackhawks star Connor Bedard from Vancouver is leading the Hockey World Championships with 5 goals in 3 games. Now on to the PWHL playoffs. Montreal will visit Boston tomorrow night, needing a win to keep the series alive. Boston is leading the best-of-5 series 2-0 after winning in triple overtime. Montreal forward Kristen O'Neill is feeling positive going into Game 3.
We are down 2-0 in the series, so we kind of don't have anything to lose at this point. So I think in a different kind of way, it's a great position to be in, so we can kind of wear our heart on our sleeves and just, focus on the moment.
Toronto's PWHL star Natalie Spooner got injured in the final period of last night's game and didn't return. Spooner is leading the league in both goals and points. Toronto missed their chance to sweep Minnesota in the best-of-5 series. The team lost 2-0, and before last night's game, they were 2-0 and yet to surrender a goal. The team is now headed to Minnesota for Game 4, and it's unclear if Spooner will be on the ice for tomorrow's game. Basketball superstar Caitlin Clark is making her WNBA debut tonight with the Indiana Fever. Clark was this year's #1 draft pick, coming off a record-setting college career at Iowa. Teams are already moving their games into bigger arenas to keep up with ticket demands to watch Clark play. That's your sports update this afternoon. I'm Ryan Sheridan for BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.